There are a few important things to discuss, and one of them is the possibility that head coach Andy Reid might leave the Chiefs. Will he? We'll break down everything happening behind the scenes this Friday. But first, hit that like button if you've been a Chiefs fan for 20 plus years. It's great to see fans of all ages. If you believe we're going to the Super Bowl, type this in the comments. Here we go, Chiefs. We'll come back stronger. Now let's get right to it. Despite losing only once in the playoffs since the 2021 AFC Championship game, Kansas City Chiefs head coach Andy Reid has been told to resign by Fox Sports radio host Rob Parker. And let me tell you, that opinion has made waves in the NFL world. Parker didn't hold back when discussing the Chiefs' Super Bowl loss, calling it an unmitigated disaster. The Chiefs were crushed 40-22 by the Philadelphia Eagles. And while the final score doesn't seem too bad, let's be real. It was 46 late in the fourth quarter before Patrick Mahomes and the offense finally found the end zone. According to Parker, that performance was proof that Andy Reid had run out of ideas and should step aside. During his radio show on Wednesday, Parker went on record saying Andy Reid should step down as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. And you're going to say, but they've been to 3 Super Bowls. Andy Reid this, Andy Reid that. But this isn't just about one game. They completely embarrassed themselves in that Super Bowl. It was 40-6 at one point. Where were the adjustments? Where was the game plan? Even former coaches and players questioned it. No running game to begin with, and once they fell behind, they had to throw nonstop. And if you think this criticism is just about the Super Bowl, Parker is clear. He believes this has been a long time coming. This decline was 2 years in the making, he continued. Last year, they won the Super Bowl, and that covered up some of the problems. Remember the receivers' struggles? Remember how Mahomes didn't look like himself at times? Well, here we are again. Andy Reid is supposed to be an offensive genius. Why does Patrick Mahomes seem to be struggling more and more? Why has the offense taken a step back? And then Parker dropped this bombshell. Can you admit that Patrick Mahomes hasn't been the same quarterback over the last 2 years? Andy Reid is supposed to be the guy who figures that out, but we haven't seen that. It's been a great run, but the last 2 regular seasons have been disappointing. Yes, they've been to the Super Bowl. Yes, they've won both. But this year, they embarrassed themselves. This offense isn't what it used to be. It has taken 2 steps back. Maybe it's time for someone else with fresh ideas. Now, before you panic, let's get one thing straight. Andy Reid isn't going anywhere. Despite Parker's harsh words, Reid has already confirmed that he will return as head coach in 2025. More importantly, he has the full support of Chiefs owner Clark Hunt, who shut down any speculation about Reid's future. I've always been surprised when I hear these rumors about Andy retiring, Hunt told The Athletic. I know how much fun Andy is having. In many ways, he's rejuvenated by the success the team has had. He has the perfect quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, and I know he loves what he does. I know for a fact that he'll be back next year. So there you have it. Despite all the noise, Andy Reid isn't retiring, and the Chiefs are ready to reload for another Super Bowl run. But what do you think, Chiefs fans? Is Parker right? Has the offense taken a step back? Or is this just an overreaction to a tough game? The Kansas City Chiefs are making moves, and according to multiple reports, they're hiring Chris Orr as their quality control coach. Orr, who spent the 2024 season coaching linebackers at Jackson State, is now making the jump to the NFL and joining a Chiefs staff looking to regroup after that tough Super Bowl loss to the Eagles. This hire brings a familiar face to one of the Chiefs' own, linebacker Leo Chenal. If you don't recall, Orr and Chenal were teammates at Wisconsin in 2019. That season, Orr was an absolute force on defense, starting all 14 games and racking up 78 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, 5 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles. Meanwhile, Chenal was just starting out as a rookie, but he showed promise with 20 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. Chenal wasted no time reacting to the news, taking to X, formerly Twitter, to share his excitement about reuniting with his former teammate. And let's be honest, having that kind of connection in the locker room can only be a good thing for the Chiefs defense. Orr's journey to Kansas City has been a winding one. After playing one season with the Carolina Panthers in 2020, he returned to Wisconsin as the school's director of player development. He later played in the USFL from 2022 to 2023 before transitioning to head coach at Jackson State. Football runs deep in his family. His father, Terry Orr, won 2 Super Bowls with Washington, and his brother, Zach Orr, is currently the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. So what does this hire mean for the Chiefs? Well, bringing in a young, energetic coach like Orr could be a smart move, especially for a team that's always looking for ways to improve its defense. His experience as both a player and a coach, plus his connection to Chenal, could help elevate the Chiefs' linebacker group next season. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Chris Orr will make an impact in Kansas City? Now, let's talk about Travis Kelce. Reports have surfaced that the Chiefs have set a deadline for their star tight end to decide whether he will return for the 2025 season. According to The Athletic, Kansas City is giving Kelce until March 14th to make up his mind. Why that date? Because on March 15th, Kelce is due an $11.5 million roster bonus if he decides to play the final year of his contract. Kelce, now 35, is facing a big decision after a tough Super Bowl loss to the Eagles. He finished the game with just 4 catches for 39 yards, and it was clear that he wasn't the same dominant force we've seen in past seasons. Speaking on his New Heights podcast, Kelce admitted he's not rushing into anything. He said he's kicking every can down the road and isn't making any big decisions right now. Let's be real. Kelce has been one of the greatest tight ends in NFL history, a 4-time first-team All-Pro, a 10-time Pro Bowler, and the owner of multiple playoff records for tight ends. But this past season, he posted his lowest total yardage since 2014, finishing with 97 receptions for 823 yards. And as he put it himself, when you don't feel like the player you once were, that reality can be tough to accept. Still, we know what Kelce means to this team, both on and off the field. His connection with Patrick Mahomes is legendary, and losing him would be a massive shift for the Chiefs' offense. But with a $19.8 million cap hit in 2025, the front office has to plan ahead, and they need a decision soon. So, Chiefs fans, what do you think? Let me break this down for you. The Kansas City Chiefs, after that heartbreaking loss in Super Bowl 59, are standing at a crossroads, staring at a future that could either be defined by resurgence or decline. The clock is ticking, the offseason is here, and the biggest question is, how do you fix a team that was just seconds away from greatness? This isn't just about picking up the pieces. It's about making the boldest moves imaginable. With free agency around the corner, every decision has to count. But here's the kicker. There are gaps everywhere. The offensive line, a disaster. And who's stepping up on the outside for Mahomes? You need more than just one solid target. And don't even get me started on the defense. Some key players are walking, and the replacements. That's where things get complicated. You can't just roll the dice. You need strategic power plays, and it all starts right here with the decisions you make now. This is a team in transition, but don't you dare think for a second that this rebuild will be easy. Stay with me, because what's coming next is crucial to whether this dynasty continues or falls into oblivion. The Kansas City Chiefs, fresh off their devastating loss in Super Bowl 59, are now entering what can only be described as the most critical phase in their franchise's recent history. With the offseason upon us, it's no longer about looking back at what happened. It's about looking forward and taking the necessary steps to ensure that their Super Bowl collapse doesn't define this team for the long term. The Chiefs can't afford to linger in the shadows of their defeat. They need to reinvent themselves, and they need to do it fast. Let's not sugarcoat things. The Chiefs have a lot of holes to fill. We're talking about a team that had championship aspirations, but now finds itself asking the most basic question: how do we come back stronger? The answer starts with free agency, and this is where the Chiefs have a real opportunity to turn things around. But let's be clear, free agency isn't just about filling gaps with warm bodies. It's about finding the right pieces to elevate this team to the next level. The offensive line must be fixed. The Chiefs have a glaring weakness that cannot be ignored. The offensive line. We saw it all season long. The protection was inconsistent. And in a high stakes game like the Super Bowl, that's the difference between victory and defeat. Patrick Mahomes, one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen, needs more than just a clean pocket. He needs stability. The offensive line needs a complete overhaul, and that's where the Chiefs must start. It's simple, but it's essential. Mahomes needs more weapons. And what about the weapons around Mahomes? You can't expect him to do everything on his own. It's not just about Travis Kelce. He's aging, and there's no telling how much longer he'll be around. Yes, Xavier Worthy is coming in as a promising number one receiver for the 2025 season, but let's be real, one solid weapon isn't enough. The Chiefs need more. They need depth. They need diversity in their receiving corps. They need to give Mahomes the firepower to go toe-to-toe with the league's best defenses without additional help on the outside. They're setting themselves up for another disappointing season. The defense is at a crossroads. On the defensive side, the Chiefs have been a formidable force, but that too is in jeopardy. The reality is some of their top defensive players are heading into free agency, and they're going to command significant contracts. This isn't just about retaining key players. No, this is about making sure the team doesn't get priced out of keeping the talent that made them a top-tier defense. And speaking of defense, let's talk about the linebacker position. If Nick Bolton decides to walk this offseason, the Chiefs must find a replacement, and not just any replacement, someone who can step in and make an immediate impact. That's where a trade for Jermaine Pratt from the Cincinnati Bengals could come into play. Pratt, the leader of the Bengals defense, is a proven playmaker, and now he's requested a trade. For the Chiefs, this could be a golden opportunity to fill a major hole without breaking the bank. Pratt would be a key addition to a linebacker group that needs more leadership and aggression. However, there are complications. Pratt is going to want a new deal after a trade, and the Chiefs have to be prepared for that. But if they can make this work financially, it could be a game changer. Not only would it fill a glaring need, but it could also free up cap space to address other areas that need immediate attention. This is a chess game, not checkers, and the Chiefs need to think several steps ahead. What will it take for the Chiefs to get back to the Super Bowl? It's going to take bold moves, decisions that don't just fill the gaps, but elevate the team as a whole, whether it's trading for Jermaine Pratt, signing key free agents to bolster the offensive line and receiving core, or finding value in the draft. The Chiefs need to come out swinging this offseason. They have the talent. They have the pieces, but now they need to make the right moves to ensure they're not just a team that almost won it all. They need to become a team that does win it all. The Chiefs are at a crossroads. The Kansas City Chiefs find themselves standing on a precipice after the agonizing heartbreak of Super Bowl 59. And now they must answer the most important question of the offseason: what now? The dust hasn't even settled, yet the chatter is already intensifying. The clock is ticking down to March, when free agency kicks off, and the Chiefs are about to face a series of franchise-defining decisions. Decisions that could either vault them back to championship glory or doom them to mediocrity. The pressure is mounting, and the front office knows it. The Chiefs need to make moves that reflect the magnitude of their situation. Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more Chiefs updates. Go Chiefs!